right, guys, so another way to use NBP ColorLogic is to stack slightly less or even just one look and then modify it in detail. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So first, let's find a look, right? So I've got this image, it's edited, but I don't have a color grade. So let's see what we can do. How about we go to Lumen? Let's see what that does for me. Okay, I sort of like that, but it's a little flat on the highlights. Maybe it doesn't inspire me. Delete it, start over. Tempo, not bad. I enjoy that. Obsidian. Well, I kind of like what Obsidian is doing. There's a lot happening there. A little bit of a grade going, a little bit of a blue tinge in the middle. I kind of like that. But see, now we could keep stacking, but we could also think, hey, if I'm this close, if I think I like the look, what's inside? So let's open up our folder and let's look inside the color look called Obsidian. So we have the base RGB, of course, which is the RGB curves, which all of these I've created to try to create intentional looks. I'm not just moving RGB curves around randomly. I'm trying to create interesting palettes that I like, and I think you will too. So you can absolutely go to the curves and modify them directly. In newer versions of Photoshop, you can see that the curves, if you go to each channel, show you the kind of direction that the colors are. So it's more green this way and more sort of purple, magenta that way, and each channel has that. So you can move these nodes around, delete the nodes, and make those changes if you feel comfortable enough with RGB curves, and that's fine. But here's another thing you can do. If you've installed the RGB curves presets that come with ColorLogic already in your Photoshop, then you can, and there's videos, by the way, on how to do that. Then you can just go to your presets, and there they all are. So at any moment, you can take the other settings that are here for this Obsidian look and change it. Oh, sure, Obsidian is still here. So you can just choose the same one again if you want, because they're all derived from the original looks. But let's say you choose Halcyon. Let's see what that does. Oh, it completely takes me a different direction. Latitude. Okay, neat. Linear. I can just, I kind of like linear, right? Now I had this blue idea that maybe I liked, but I'm sort of liking what linear gave me, but I still have the look of Obsidian on top. This is now a custom look that did not exist before I started mixing and matching, right? So the Luma, there's no changes on the Luma necessarily. It's just a little bit sort of preserving the highlight. So maybe I can change the contrast there a little bit. Pop the highlights just a bit. Yeah, bring the contrast down. That's not bad. And of course, I have the vibrance and saturation, which I'm actually going to take up just a little bit. There you go, a little more depth to it. So we went from this to this. Cool. We have some compression if we want it. It looks like just a little bit of shadow compensation, which is fine. And then there's a gradient map on here, right? So I can come to the gradient map, double click it. I have my properties open over here, but I'm going to go straight to the gradient fill. And if you've installed the ColorLogic gradients, tap on here, open up the ColorLogic gradients, and there they all are, right? And so we can start exploring that. Let's see what that does to our look. Look at that. This has a radial on it right now, radial gradient, to kind of just create some changes and some interesting tonal transitions across your image to kind of change the feel and vibe of it. You can change the opacity later, but let's see if I find something that sort of gets my attention. That pink is sort of interesting, kind of lightened it up, didn't it? You see how we're not necessarily thinking, I want an image to be purple, so I'm going to click purple. No, we're just exploring what color does with these modes. You know what? I don't mind that so much. Let's go to OK there. Hit OK again. And now that's at 25%. How about we make it 15%? Okay, something like that. Off and on. And now I've got a cool look. So I can close that folder, which is a good idea when you're going to start stacking things, because I'm not going to stack another color, but I'm going to go to my helper actions and see what I got here. How about we do a very soft highlight pop? Okay, so I went from there to there. It's extremely subtle, but I'm going to double click the right side, open up the blend diff and expand it because I want to use that for some shaping. There we go. So that's kind of a cool shaping. And then we're going to go compress the whole thing with a medium compressor and maybe change the opacity of that just a hair. And there we go. Look at that. Boom, boom. I started in one direction. I ended up in another direction. And while I'm exploring, I can also come back here. Remember, I have it on linear if I want, the linear preset for the curves. I can choose another one. What's electric do? Ooh, that completely different feel on the RGB curves. And because it's RGB curves, guys, remember, all your transitions are going to be beautiful. All these are going to be smooth and seamless. You can change them if you want by modifying the actual nodes, but you can just keep looking around. And let's say you think, that's all right. Some of these looks are cool, but you know what? I think I like the linear, so I'm going to go ahead and just keep linear and go from there. I currently have it at 100%, and that's fine. So I can mix and match just on the actual preset itself. Whatever started as Obsidian is no longer Obsidian. I've changed the gradient. I can make my own or use the presets that come with ColorLogic, or I can change the RGB curves to something else. It's no longer obsidian. It doesn't matter. The preset name is just a name to get you started. But now I have this cool look here, and I've modified it with a little bit of a highlight boost, which I like, and some compression to kind of marry it all together on top. And that is a beautiful look that I created that I did not plan on creating, and I think I like where it's going. Very easily, I can take these 3 layers, or the folder and the 2 other layers, drag and drop them into other images of the same set, and I am good to go. You see, that's another way we can use ColorLogic to explore color, explore looks that maybe you didn't even consider, because you have so many different ways to go about it. You have all the curves presets, which are beautiful RGB curves, right? You have all the gradient presets. You can install all those. You can make your own. Keep adding to it. Does not matter. You can keep going with this idea because there's always something to change. And again, you can add layers on top if you need to. You can change the actual look itself by modifying here, maybe a little more color. How about we add 15 vibrance? Why not? To add to that look. Without necessarily stacking multiple looks, we start with a look and we keep going until something catches our eye. That's the power of ColorLogic. As opposed to dialing everything manually, you find inspiration as you click and explore with different, not just the actual actions that create the layer stacks, but different presets, like I said, between the curves and the gradient maps and other things. So that's just another way to use ColorLogic, and actually one of my favorite ways. Stacking is cool, and that can definitely lead to some interesting and exciting results, but modifying what you already have can also lead to some interesting, cool discoveries.